Alright, next one is another single player. Wow, these sections outside of the one have been very short. Unknown, it is Saber and Ryder. I think Gil is still the way to go here, then. Excuse me. I didn't even read the section. Section 7, Qin Shi Huang. Well, that was easy enough. Man, of all the ways the Emperor attained immortality, that one didn't even just occur to me. Fo-fo! So, after finding Nessa's remains of the Shang Dynasty ruins, the Emperor must have worked out some sort of cybernetics breakthrough way back in the BC era. No wonder the technology in this Lostbelt is so topsy-turvy. So the Emperor must have abandoned the Zenren's aspirations and found his way to attain immortality another way. Zenren. The Zenren were Taoist monk sages, or hermits if you like, who sought eternal truth. They also perfected their bodies, thereby achieving eternal youth and life. In proper human history, the first Emperor of the Qin attempted to become one such Zenren through an immortality elixir made through Chinese alchemy. But as it happened, repeated long-term use of this elixir only resulted in fatal mercury poisoning. Alchemy has always been a great deal more trial and error than success, no matter where it was practiced. But in this Lostbelt, the same Emperor must have given up on alchemy in favor of technology based on Nessa. Well, Prince Nessa's body was still created by a Zenren, so it's not as though that represented too big of a divergence of path. From the path, but the decision to surrender the human form and grant only the mind immortality cannot have been made lightly. From there, the Emperor was able to stamp out all the dissent in the rest of China and continue ruling the resulting empire at the height of its power. Conquering the rest of the world seems only a matter of course. Yes, well, as a mage, I can't say I approve of that, but I'm glad this Emperor turned out to be such a reasonable fellow. Indeed, it was a most unexpected development. I never would have guessed that the Lostbelt's ruler would sever ties with the scriptor in favor of negotiating with us. That said, what do you make of the request to examine the Shadow Border in exchange? Yeah, it's definitely risky. It's definitely a risk. I mean, we didn't so much as tell the other Lostbelt factions the zero sailing is even a thing. The Russian and Scandinavian Lostbelts both seem to have their hands full with their own affairs. But China's different. Quite so. The Empire is under the impression that the rest of the world is part of its domain, and that Storm is responsible for severing the ties to the rest of their land. They see the situation as an unprecedented disaster, much like we did with proper human history being wiped out of existence. I wonder what they'd think if they saw the world outside the Lostbelt. They'd probably be pissed. You know, their potential reaction is key. There are several Lostbelts, but only one Earth. It's a recipe for the biggest, crappiest game of musical chairs ever. Since there's no way for all these different civilizations to coexist, instead of existing in parallel worlds, they have to fight to exist on the same Earth. So the Lostbelts that aren't preoccupied with just scraping by are eventually going to have to fight with others, if they want to expand their territory further. Yeah, he did say everybody's trees would be fighting. So the Cryptors, Team A, are competing with each other at the same time. They're fighting proper human history. Why would Kirstaria choose this? We have insufficient evidence to come to any conclusions about his motives, so let's leave that aside for now. The salient point of the moment is that all the Lostbelts will eventually be competing with each other for survival. Right, and while proper human history may be at a disadvantage with all its territory gone, there's still one thing we have that the Lostbelts don't. Of course, the Shadow Border. And because of that, we're still the only ones with the ability to zero sail between the Lostbelts as we please, but if one of the Lostbelts had the border, they'd have a serious leg up over the others, huh? Damn, I can't believe this Qin Shi Huang is thinking that far ahead. Indeed, though all of this assumes that China does indeed have other nations under its rule. Now, once Qin Shi Huang measures us with his Lostbelt, the first move they make will be to go against the other Lostbelts rather than Chaldea. This could be our big chance to swoop in while the other sides were weak from fighting each other and take the prize for ourselves. I'm afraid not, Mr. Gordolf. The outcome we need to be concerned about is Qin Shi Huang getting an overwhelming advantage thanks to the Shadow Border's technology, and going on to claim the entire planet as their own. Well, if that happens, we'll be responsible for creating the biggest threat to restoring proper human history ourselves. And there's no way to tell how it'll play out until it's open lid on this figurative Pandora's box. So no matter what we do, we're taking a big risk. There is also a possibility we may become collateral damage when the Lostbelts begin to battle one another in earnest. Still, while we cannot rule out that outcome out definitively, it's still far away enough that we can worry about it later.
In the meantime, our most pressing concern by far is finding an antidote for Director Gordoff and Mr. Soul.
Yes, exactly, Holmes. I always knew you had a kind heart deep down in that gruff detective exterior. Well, I guess we can't deny that Tubby here is in trouble. If they really do hand Koyan over as promised, does that mean we'll have one less thing to worry about?
Well, in one sense, yes, but having Koyan as a prisoner will create other very serious problems. If anything, it only further raises the question of how we go about settling matters in this Lostbelt.
And then there's the fact that we still can't find the Tree of Emptiness.
And I was surprised to learn that not even Qin Shi Huang knew about it.
Does it mean Hanako doesn't know either? What am I saying? Of course she knows. I mean, it's her job as a crypto to protect this world of Tree of Emptiness with her life.
Quite so, her behavior has been most peculiar from the beginning. Both Kaneko and Ophelia had formed an alliance with their Lostbelt rulers and shared a goal to expand their territory in the future. But here in China, the only one who seems interested in territory expansion is Qin Shi Huang. It even seems as though Okuda was trying to hold Qin Shi Huang back.
Yeah, the only thing that seemed to interest her was wiping us out.
That's true. I got the sense she wants to dispose of us before Qin Shi Huang started paying attention to the outside world.
I can't tell if she's being reactive or proactive. Say, this might be a little too late by now, but are we sure it's okay to talk about this stuff in here? I mean, Qin Shi Huang keeps an eye on all of China, right? So how's the Emperor not listening in right now? How do we know the Emperor isn't listening in right now?
True, the thought of the Emperor peeping on us from low orbit is more than a little creepy. But the flip side of that is that all the Emperor can do. That's all the Emperor can do. We should assume our heat signatures are visible even with a roof in the way. But as far as audio is concerned, the Emperor mentioned that the quality isn't good, and we can only be heard when we're looking up and raising our voices. I know, because I tried yelling a bunch of obscenities at the Emperor when I was in the cockpit.
Da Vinci, you could have gotten us slaughtered! Da Vinci! You fool! You could have gotten us all killed!
Oh, Da Vinci, Da Vinci, Da Vinci.
Da Vinci, Da Vinci, Da Vinci. So that's what all that stuff about oldies or cyberpunk ripoffs and 80s leftovers was.
Anyway, having the Emperor constantly watching us at all times will get annoying, so I made this.
And is
A stealth module for your new Mr. Code. I tried modeling it off of Robin's No Face May King. Just think of it as a streamlined, portable, bounded field. That's amazing. When did you even have time to make that? Thanks, but it's not really quite as impressive as it sounds. There's a lot of stability issues and no other kinks that need to work out. If the mana levels in the atmosphere are too dense, or it gets really hot or really cold, it falls apart like a house of cards. So that would mean it's pretty useless in the other two Lostbelts we've seen so far.
I see, but when one considers how stable this Lostbelt environment is, becomes clear how useful such a module would be.
Oh, it also focuses on precision over area of effect, so it won't hide you from someone close by. But since we only have to worry about long-range spying here, it should work perfectly in this case.
Uh-oh. What the? Did Yang Yang just launch something at us?
Let's go check it out, Master.
Oh, with benefaction, our village got a benefaction. Most glorious, majestic, heavenly Emperor wishes to thank you for your hospitality to our otherworldly visitors. Be grateful for this blessing. Oh, thank you, most glorious and majestic heavenly Emperor. Thank you. Benefaction, I remember now. They said that's what these rockets are usually used for to deliver.
Man, they're so lucky. I can't wait till I'm grown up and get benefactions too. Kids never get them. Well, you do, but they usually don't work as well when you're little as when you grow up to take a shirt out for me. Say, want to try mine and see what they're like for yourself, mister? Here you go. Medicine.
If it clears your head out, it makes you feel real good. It's like a dream come true. Because that's... oh no, Holmes, no! Holmes the druggie. Sherlock Holmes the drug addict. Oh, this is not... Oh, man. He doesn't need the void dust anymore, everybody. Holmes does not need the void dust anymore. Oh, God. That was good. Well, sure, I am not speaking solely out of personal desire. Don't you think such a drug is worth analyzing? Oh, yeah. He's definitely into that. But I guess I was right. Okay, maybe I wasn't completely right, but they are definitely being drugged up.
These people are being given weed. Some sort of super weed at that.
This could be some sort of technology unique to this Lostbelt. There's no counterpart in proper human history.
In other words, Holmes, you want to experience a high that and nobody else can say they've ever experienced.
I see this benefaction isn't money then. Well, of course not. I doubt this farming village even has a monetary economy. Then again, the fact that we've seen so much agriculture would suggest some economic activity.
What if their crops yield tremendous surplus every year without fail?
Is that even possible?
In our world, using methods of agriculture with which we are not familiar with, no. Things may work differently in this world. I took a look at the wheat they are growing, and it looks nothing like I've ever seen. In fact, I can't even be certain it's wheat. All I can say for certain is that it's been heavily modified. Perhaps this seemingly primitive form of agriculture is actually far more advanced than I've been giving it credit for.
Even though these farmers don't have as much as a single tractor.
Perhaps their methods are so advanced they have no need for machines.
Why don't you analyze the wheat along with that shady drug then? You might just learn something.
I cannot say that the wheat is nearly as interesting as the drug. But now that we no longer need to look for Kyoyan, I suppose I could spare the time. He supposes he can spare the time. Qin Huang's.
Hi there, the engineers just went on break. That vehicle is like your home away from home, right? I'm so sorry you can't use it during our investigation. Are you finding everything to your liking in our camp in the meantime? Oh yes, it's been very pleasant here. They are so fresh and clean. It's so nice to have a place outside the vehicle where we can relax. We didn't really have that in the other places we've been to. Foo-foo! I'm glad to hear it. Alright, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Qin Liang Yu, a general of the Empire.
Qin Liang Yu.
You know her, Holmes? Because I certainly do not.
In proper human history, she existed about 400 years ago. She's famous in China for being the only female general in recorded history.
Okay, so it was very softly implied that the Great Wall in space was finished 300 years ago. So that means that Qin Liang, that Mothman, was warring with the world for, let me see, he reigned in 50 BC, I think it was. He warred with the world for about 1800 years. And it does look like he has frozen generals. So that means that heroic figures that existed probably mainly in China, but also as he expanded in the territories he's gained throughout the years, do probably exist. But likely any heroic figures from less than 300 years ago probably no longer exist since there's no more need for war. There is a cutoff point.
That aside, the fact that you are still alive in this day and age is a great surprise to us. Did Qin Huang make you immortal too by any chance?
Of course not. I was just permitted to sleep in Mount Li after my accomplishments in the Bozu Rebellion. Here in the Empire, any warrior who makes a name for themselves is put to rest in times of peace and is only awakened again when they are needed.
So you employ cryogenic freezing then? I presume there is no need to keep your standing army here.
Was Jiang Yu frozen as well?
Jiang Yu? Ah, I see. So you call that thing Jiang Yu too? That thing? No, that thing is just a valuable relic. It's one of the most glorious and majestic Heavenly Empire's most impressive accomplishments, which is saying a lot. It's both one of the cornerstones of this internal empire and a monument to it. But as you can see, it's not a living soldier. You could say it's an ancestor to the mechanical army.
So Qin Huang's army is composed of those dolls, and new commanders from the past were unfrozen in order to lead them.
Of course, I'm also told that the Royal Guards in Xiangyang have always been assembled with soldiers of the current era. I've even heard that some of the elites have received instruction in sage arts from the most glorious and majestic Heavenly Emperor in person. But Qin Xiang has no need to keep a full army on hand at all times. The mechanical soldiers are more than sufficient, and the generals needed to lead them can always be summoned from the quarters of Mount Li. It's been a long time since I was frozen myself, and I'm also told there hasn't been any sort of disturbance for the last 100 years.
So you're saying war has been eradicated from this world?
Even when I was a young girl, war was only ever something I read about in history books. I mean, wars can only be fought between countries, right? but there haven't been any countries besides our empire for over 800 years. The only reason I took up this bureau was to put down revolts.
Then Qin Shi Huang achieved domination over the world by the 13th century. Okay. Interesting.
We started implementing gunpowder well before any other country, so no nation was able to oppose us. The discovery of the Fusang tree was also a big help too, as it helped us make huge leaps in our medical science. And so thanks to most glorious and majestic heavenly empire of bending mortal flesh in a holy undying vessel.
The Fusang tree.
It holds the embodiment of the sage's secrets, a treasure trove of hidden mystic wisdom. Others know it as the Tree of Life. Most glorious and majestic heavenly emperor discovered it while searching the sage world for secrets of immortality. So Qin Shi Huang really did manage to become a sage. No, most glorious and majestic heavenly emperor had already achieved immortality through the holy vessel before he discovered the Fusang tree. You see, the emperor chose to remain in metal form rather than ascend to the heavens, because it was a better way to lead the nation. Still, it took over 300 years to complete this search, and it wouldn't have been possible without abandoning the shackles of mortality. In the end, the Emperor decided to use the sage's knowledge of medicine to improve our people's lives. With all manner of disease, hunger, and pestilence eradicated, and our soldiers' strengths enhanced through elixirs, no other country's forces stood a chance against us.
Sage art-based biochemistry, then. That reminds me, isn't this a rather unnecessarily large plot of farmland for this number of residents?
You think? I suppose everyone does have their hands full during harvest. But the wheat grows on its own for the rest of the time, so it doesn't seem like too much work to me.
Is that so? I do beg your pardon. I really thought that all this wheat might result in quite surplus, given how many people live here. Perhaps you take more than half of the harvest as a form of taxation.
Of course, everything in the village can't eat is taken to Xiangyang.
I see, then I suppose Xiangyang must be an immensely populous city.
No, not especially. Now I see. I think the wheat is only grown for food in your world. Is that not the case here? Wheat is the key ingredient for ethanol, the Empire's most valuable source of energy.
Well, don't I look a proper fuel? I was completely taken in by its appearance. This mundane-looking wheat field is actually used primarily for growing your fuel source.
I did hear that world you all come from has a completely different history from ours. I can only speculate, but I gather the word from Europe you came from is a cruel and unforgiving place.
Why do you say that?
Both you and that young lady are, I do hope this doesn't offend you, but neither of you look as though you enjoy fighting. You have such kind eyes, so much so that I can scarcely imagine you in any quarrels to begin with. Foe!
You know, Foe makes a good point. Could there be a beast of humanity here? I mean, let's say theoretically this world never stagnated and was pruned. Could a beast of humanity develop? In fact, would the Emperor himself be considered a beast candidate? I mean, yes, I know all the slots are filled technically, but theoretically, he's doing all this for the love of humans themselves, which is a qualification of a beast. He's doing this to protect them so that they don't have to worry. No advancement, nothing like that. It's not regression, it's not pity. So yeah, I feel like he could very well be a beast candidate. Under different circumstances, obviously.
And yet that weapon that young lady carries looks to be so heavy and dense that even the most seasoned of our warriors would have difficulty handling it.
Good point, which beasts were created later on, so it is flexible. Not Tiamat or Goetia. Foe has existed for a long time and was kicked out of Avalon by Merlin, and I believe that technically speaking, Camelot is a fixed point in history no matter what. The rise and fall of Camelot has to happen, so that had to happen even in this world. So Foe would exist. Rome, by that merit, would probably also... Rome definitely existed as well. So Mother Harlot and Beast of Revelation are still there. Kama technically exists. However, Kiara wouldn't. So Kiara wouldn't exist. So then another person would have to fulfill the second half of the Beast of Lust. CCC, right. Amaterasu is also a beast candidate as well. And actually, the moon cell, they haven't gone to the moon, so the moon cell would technically still exist in this world, wouldn't it? So, theoretically, Amaterasu would still be a beast candidate. Because Tamamo would exist upon the throne of heroes on the moon cell. BB sadly wouldn't come to fruition. So somebody else would fulfill the role of lust for that beast. So, Goetia, Tiamat, Kiara Kama, Nero, and Beast 666. Foe. So then there's 2 Amaterasu. So then there's 1 beast candidate still technically, I feel.
What's more, I can tell she wields it naturally as if it were an extension of her own body. And that people such as yourself has been forced to become adept at combat at such a young age. Well, that says a great deal about how harsh your world must be.
She's not wrong. Damn, looks like they're gonna party all night, huh? That benefaction stuff must be some real good shit.
Indeed.
What's going on, man? This isn't like you. I thought you'd be up in I'll be up in arms about, you know, the poor people dancing at me for blessings their oppression designed to bestow upon them or something.
Yes, perhaps under other circumstances I would. But seeing how happy they are right now, it is difficult to find fault in this.
So this is how it is, huh?
It was the pain and starvation I saw so many forced to endure that first moved me to rebellion. They were treated more like animals than people. Their smiles in moments of hard-won victory and freedom were so fragile, so honorable. They were nothing like what I see here now. Now that I think of it, I've never seen anywhere so filled with joy and peace as this village.
Of course not. The sheep don't even know where it is, remember? Couldn't be further from our world.
I'd always hoped that the blood my compatriots and I shed would buy smiles like this, but I never dreamed I would truly get to see them. This world is too perfect for the likes of me.
Ain't that the truth?
Tell me, O knight, are you sure we should even be here?
You haven't kidding me. Why would you even ask that? You get along great with these people.
I know, but even so, something continues to feel off. I cannot help but wonder, do we heroic spirits truly have a place on the battlefields of these Lostbelts?
Again, Spartacus proving why he does not have Madness enhancement.
Senpai, are you up?
Trouble sleeping, Mash?
Yes, I'm afraid my nerves are still frayed from the battle we fought earlier today. I'm glad we survived thanks to Qin Shuang's interceding, but it was still too close for comfort.
Yeah, let's get some air.
Okay, thank you for joining me, Senpai.
I mean, the people are still oppressed. They're oppressed from knowledge.
See, the villagers are still enjoying their festival. I guess these benefactions must be a huge cause for celebration. Home studies suspected they might be a luxury good, much like alcohol in our own world.
Yeah, it is drugs, though, so...
Maybe our perspective is off there since we're used to Holmes' habits. Anyway, it looks like they're going to keep the Shadow Border investigation going through the night. I hope Da Vinci will be okay supervising them.
And we're free as birds.
Yeah, it feels like forever since we last had time for ourselves. This Lostbelt is really peaceful, isn't it?
That must be why there's not... The nodes are so short, because it's peace.
Senpai, I've seen a world like this before. It was a world of possibilities, united under a single ideal.
I just got chills when I realized what was being talked about in this song. Temple of Time.
Yes, the King of Magus, Goetia, envisioned a history of humanity that was free from strife and suffering.
Mash is getting what I'm saying.
I disagreed with him. There was something about a world completely lacking in pain or adversity that just felt wrong to me. But now, the way people live here seems so close to that world, yet it's still rich with life in the set of Earth. These people aren't illusions, they're just as real as we are.
Yet we're still their foes. Their enemies.
Yes, I know. Even after we take Koyan into custody and secure an antidote, that won't be the end of it. We can't stop fighting until we find the Tree of Emptiness, cut it down. and prune this world away like it was originally meant to be. I know this is a rare chance to rest and relax, but when I think about it, I just can't get to sleep.
It is... Again, the Lostbelts, they drive sympathy from you, you know? I mean, she does have a point. Outside of the illiteracy, you know, this world is incredibly peaceful. Like, people would dream for this kind of peace. And a lot of people would be more than willing to sacrifice, like, literacy and that kind of stuff to have this kind of peace. So, to know that it wouldn't succeed in the long run, I don't know.
Master, get back!
Oh boy.
Would seem I missed my chance. I thought it would be easy to kill you under the cover of the darkness. I overestimated those who have spent their lives dedicated to the art of war. Even if it would take no more than a single stroke of my sword, I cannot bring myself to sneak up behind and murder someone in cold blood as they admire the beauty of the night sky.
Prince Ling, we've called a truce right now.
No, you and the Emperor called a truce. My master and I agreed to no such thing. As such tonight, when everyone else has lowered their guard, would have been a perfect chance to end you, Master of Chaldea. Ordinarily, I would like nothing more than for those moved by a beautiful thing to live out their lives in peace and happiness. But now that we have met as enemies, we can never be. I had hoped to end you before you had to feel any need for fear. Forgive me for my incompetence.
Did you really think it would be that easy, servant? Ken Liang Yu, did you honestly believe that I would fail to protect all our allies at a moment of an assassination? Perhaps a true assassin would have been able to elude me, but you, not a chance. Warriors like you are meant to cross swords on the field of battle, not skulk around in the dead of night. Your master must be grossly ignorant of war to send you on a mission so badly suited to your abilities.
Silence will not suffer any insult to my master. Still, now that I have heard such insolent remarks, I feel no guilt for drawing my sword. For that you would have my thanks, General Kenobi.
Data update! No, Jiang Yu is General Kenobi. No. General Kenobi is the good line here. Jiang Yu needs to say it, though. He needs to be the one to say the words. Jeez, I've been going for 4 hours at this point. These short chapters, though, they make it so easy to keep going. Claim. The other thing to be. And we can actually just skip the story this time. I am worried, though, at how few nodes there are. Like, I'm worried the free quests are not going to be that many. You know? So far it's 4. We're inevitably going to be going to fight Mothman. Which, you know, I am curious as to why he's chosen the form he has. Puppet soldiers. So he converted some of those to his side. So that'll make 5 nodes, but maybe Mount Lee as well, because they kind of implied that. But beyond that, I don't really know where else there could be fights. It's just such peace. Sorry for the yawn. Like I said, I've been going for 4 hours, and 4 hours of talking straight does sap the batteries a little bit. I was gonna say, don't crit Merlin. And it didn't, thank God. Kill. Kill. Yes. Okay. And some decent crit stars, too. Right, does he have a break bar? He, of course, has a break bar. We'll break his bar, then. Save that.
お任せ夢のように聞かせて君の道行きを信じようさあ行きなさい
I wasn't even paying attention to how many turns I was going to be without skills. It's not 5 turns at least. So it's probably still 2, I think, was the last number. Very nice. Dance of the White Tiger. Crit rate up. You can high all you want, Prince of Landling. Your high-ahs are no match for that of the mighty Link. Come on, get enough so I can get, yes, an MP next turn. And this is game, set, match. I'm not gonna do 2 NPs, that's just a waste of time. Yeah, Akuta's gonna get wrecked by the Emperor, isn't she? Excuse me. Stop long enough. Any chance you had a victory is gone, Prince of Landling.
Qin Liang Yu speaks the truth. Nighttime though it may be, even we, at such great remove, cannot help but notice such a tumultuous commotion. We trust you can hear our voice, Akuta Hinako. What do you have to say for yourself?
Akuta. I know you may not understand right now, Your Imperial Majesty, but I promise that everything I've done has been for the prosperity of your empire.
Is that so? Then it would seem you indeed have no intention of honoring our wishes. Now then, what do we do with you? We doubt the threat of beheading would be enough to cow you. No, if we don't punish you, then we must take something else away. Ah yes, I know. Come here. Quasi Zero.
You summoned me, Your Imperial Majesty.
Jiang Yu?
We did. Rip your core out of your chest and smash it to pieces immediately. Whoa, okay.
How will this punish her, though, when you're literally eliminating one of your greatest weapons?
As you wish, Your Imperial Majesty.
Wait, please wait. I'm sorry, please, anything but that.
Ah, so you are able to plead for forgiveness. You must be quite attached to that machine indeed.
Akuta, please have mercy, I swear I will serve you faithfully from this moment forward. I'll do anything you ask, anything at all, please just spare his life.
We will hold you to your word, Akuta Hinako. Know that the only reward for defying our will is fear far worse than any mere death.
Yes, Your Imperial Majesty, I swear I'll never go against your wishes again.
Well done, Qin Liang Yu. You need not concern yourself with that woman any longer.
Understood, Your Imperial Majesty. Lord Sol, I suggest you return to the camp and retire for the night. Senpai.
Let's go, Nash.
Okay.
I must ask you once again.
Yes.
Who is this Jiang Yu you speak of?
Chance that I will need to tell you another, very different story first.
The one where the Emperor died before obtaining the holy vessel.
That's right. After the Emperor passed, quest for immortality was seemingly buried with him.
Sorry, I'm also scrolling through the Reddit for FGO at the same time, and somebody just posted, Gordolf is not a fellow gamer. Oh, indeed he is not.
You were no exception, as you were kept hidden away in a secret quasi-laboratory. But someone found and reactivated you, a man by the name of Jiang Liang. He went on to become one of the many people attempting to rule China for himself after the decline of Qin.
Then in this history, I fell into rebel hands.
Jiang Liang wanted to use your superhuman abilities to further his own ambitions. So he gave you his surname of Jiang, the first name Ji, and the courtesy name of Yu, and presented you as his nephew, despite knowing you were not actually human.
True, I was only given my current combat frame long after I was first activated. My original chassis was originally entirely humanoid.
No one ever suspected Jiang Liang was lying. The thought simply never could occur to them. The Emperor based you on Tai Zenren's creation. A machine as advanced as you was beyond anyone's imagination at the time.
Then I was treated as a person, rather than a device.
Given your appearance, no one had any reason to suspect you of anything other than human, regardless of how exceptionally skilled you may have been. In time, future generations would come to know Jiang Yu as one of China's greatest warriors, yet none of them would ever know your true identity, nor how you were made.
Something is amiss with your claims. If this Jiang Liang person kept my origins and the truth of my creation a secret, how did you come to learn the truth? Who are you, really?
I'm just a drifter, one who came to this lost but solely to be reunited with you, my beloved Lord Jiang Yu.
Is she a robot as well? I feel like a robot would be found out, though, by Chaldea's systems. I mean, the sages... Well, there was talk about the sages questing for eternal youth and eternal life is... And if he was made off the same idea as Nezha, who was also made by such sages, then I guess she could just be a sage? I guess? One of the ones who achieved eternal life and such? It kind of makes sense, actually. And it would explain why she would be so devastated. She also apparently doesn't see anything wrong with him turning from a normal human to a four-armed centaur. Okay. Akuda is very interesting now.